Now I'm gonna demonstrate a slightly more complex use case. It's the so-called merge request. This is what you want to use when you have maybe many people in your team working on different features, and maybe you want to have a couple of maybe some centralized review process. Maybe they're just one or a couple of people in the team that are allowed to merge in it to the main branch. Or maybe you just want to make sure that you enable code review so different test developers check and validate the code that the other members are doing. In order to enable merge requests, the idea that we have is we've introduced something called protected branches. So for instance, in this case, we might want to say that the master branch is protected. So what we will do is we will enable the protection here, and then you can enable which can approve the merge, right? The merge request. So first of all, I'm actually going to unclick this, allow user to approve own merge request. And I think this is useful as an illustration. Then, after I've done this, I'm just going to do a change in a feature branch. Here it's feature 1. So if we go into module A, let's say I am creating another test. So here I'm creating test 2 and I'm doing some actions. Let's say I navigate to the menu and I do something here, okay? Now, in order to be able to merge this, as usual, you will have to make a commit. So the first thing you want to do is you see that this is modified files. This is the git status view. You can see that we've added this test number 2, okay? So what we're going to first do is we're just going to create a regular commit here. So we're saying added test 2. So if we do this, we don't see any problems right now. It's just been committed into my feature branch. My feature branch is not protected, okay? So what happens is when we switch to the master branch and we try to merge the feature branch, this is when you're going to see. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and merge it, and as usual, we'll create a commit. And again, the default commit message is going to be merge from feature 1 to master. So what we get now is an extra message. It says the merge request sent for review as the target branch is protected. And then it says, please approve it from a merge request list, okay? So what we can see now is, because I am now the same person, you can see that I now see that there is a 1 here, there is something to be done. And then also here, under the merge request, we can see that this is now in my queue. So if I go to my master branch, as you can see, we don't see test number B here. The merge has not yet happened, okay? We'll go back in here, and now we're going to try to approve this merge request, okay? And as you can see here, it says you cannot approve your own commit, but you can enable self-approval in the branch protection view. So if we now go back here, you remember on the master setting, there was a checkbox for allow user to approve own merge request. So again, I'm going to enable this because maybe that's not what I want in a production setting, but for demo purposes here, it's hard to demo with many users. Now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to approve and I'm going to submit. And as you can see, we got a successful merge happening, and that we can see in both views here. We can see the merge happening here from feature 1 to master. And now if we go to module A, we can see both test A and test 2. And as you can see, you'll have the action here. Another thing you can see with the protected branches is we don't normally by default allow you to do any recordings or modifications in protected branches. But of course, you can play the test case here to validate that it's working. And you can, of course, also run these, of course, from the CI server. So I hope you can play around with this. and figure out if there are additional use cases we need. But I think this is the most important use case to be able more controlled collaboration.